Today is the first day of trial in the Barry Davis murder case. I'm News Channel 7's Brian Hill, and coming up here, opening statements from both the defense and the prosecution.
Controversy has been surrounding the Visual Arts Center of Northwest Florida. I'm News Channel 7's Kelly Baumgarten, and I've been investigating the story, and we'll bring you the details coming up.
And thousands of bikers will be heading south over the next few days for Thunder Beach.
We'll tell you what you need to know to enjoy the spring rally safely.
Live from WJHG in high definition, this is News Channel 7 at 6. Coverage you can count on.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Nisa Wilkins.
And I'm Ron Marasco. Welcome to News Channel 7 at 6. A jury has been seated and opening arguments have wrapped up in the murder trial of Barry Davis. He's accused of killing Heidi Rhodes and John Hughes in Santa Rosa. The trial is taking place in Defuniak Springs. News Channel 7's Brian Hill was in court today. He joins us live from Jackson County with more. Brian, what are both sides claiming?
Ron, the prosecution is claiming Davis killed the couple for money and was starting a marijuana growing operation, while the defense is hoping to discredit the prosecution's witnesses.
He attacked Greg Hughes, beating him and perhaps strangling him until he lay unconscious and bleeding on the floor.
Thursday morning, prosecutors described to a jury of 12 at the Walton County Courthouse how Barry Davis allegedly killed John Hughes and Hughes' girlfriend Heidi Rhodes in 2012.
She began crying out, "Barry, what did I do? Why are you doing this?" And then he began beating and choking Heidi Rhodes.
They told jurors the motive for the murders was money. The prosecution will present 5 witnesses, including Davis's then-girlfriend, Tiffany Stewart, who claims she was there during the murders, and people who supposedly helped Davis empty Hughes' home. The defense is aiming to discredit these witnesses, focusing mainly on Stewart.
None of them were charged with obstructing justice, supposedly lying, perjury. They've all been given get out of jail.
The defense says early on in the investigation, Stewart lied about the last time she saw the couple and witnessing the crime.
Now informs her that she's going to be arrested for dealing in stolen property. And the evidence will show that Ms. Stewart responds, she swears to God she's telling the truth. Boy, it didn't take her long to change her mind, that's it.
Prosecutors say she later admitted to seeing Davis murder Rhodes and told deputies Davis told her he cut up and burned the bodies. Prosecutors say they were able to tie Davis to the murders because he forged Hughes' signature on checks and used his bank cards. Prosecutors say Davis sold Hughes drugs, and when he was asked about the couple's location and their disappearance, he said they were in Orlando and later Barbados. Ron?
Brian, thank you. Davis is now facing a total of 14 charges, including 2 counts of first-degree murder. If convicted, he could face the death penalty.
Well, Tuesday we told you about the Visual Arts Center of Northwest Florida losing its nonprofit status. Well, today we looked deeper into some of the controversy that's been surrounding the VAC. News Channel 7's Kelly Baumgarten joins us live with a special investigative report. And Kelly, you spoke with the VAC's executive director as well as some former employees. So what did they all tell you?
Well, Nisa, I spoke with several people who were either employed by the VAC or who taught classes. They said the administration had several issues that alienated many in the arts community. I also spoke with the VAC's executive director, Vicki Middlemas, who says the accusations are coming from disgruntled employees. Tuesday's Panama City Commission meeting brought out the head of the Visual Arts Center to defend the museum's tax-exempt status change.
And I called the IRS yesterday, and it seems like it is an error on their part. They do not have them. So now they have been faxed to them with the doc stamps and proof of the timely filing.
Vicki Middlemas says these documents prove her 2009 and 2010 taxes were filed on time. She says she found out only 2 weeks ago that the museum had lost its nonprofit status. But according to the IRS website, that happened in 2012. Panama City Commissioner John Cady says the city is working to get to the bottom of the issue.
Our main concern as the city is that the Visual Arts Center is a private organization. However, they operate out of a city-owned and city-maintained facility, plus we give them a grant of about $88,000 a year to operate for promotion of the arts downtown.
We've been digging deeper into this story, and it turns out it's not just an IRS problem. Over the past week, city commissioners have been receiving a slew of emails like these from former employees and art teachers complaining about things like bounced checks, late payments, and unpaid water bills.
Those personnel actions and the internal actions of the Visual Arts Center are really the activities of a private organization, so that's not so much of our concern. Our concern is that they maintain the confidence, the community maintains the confidence in that organization since they are using city facilities and city money.
However, former employees continue to bring their concerns to the commission. Bonnie Teat was the former exhibits and membership director at the VAC. She says she was fired last week after voicing her concerns to a VAC board member.
This is my termination letter showing that I was terminated for insubordination, which is also known as telling the truth.
Tate says she took her concerns to Commissioner Katie. In an excerpt from an email to him, she said, "My concerns include tax fraud, non-payment of employees and vendors, drinking on the job, the total lack of a board of director until January, just to name a few."
I met with Ms. Tate to talk about some of those issues, and I'm going to be meeting with the director, Vicki Middlemas, on Thursday afternoon to also talk about it.
And Tate isn't the only one who claims mismanagement. Jennifer Bonaventura is a former VAC teacher, and in an excerpt from an email she sent to commissioners, she said, "Employees and teachers are consistently not paid on time, told to hold paychecks and not cash them, and paychecks bounced due to insufficient funds." Bonaventura even included a picture of a paycheck of hers that had bounced.
You don't want to have to beg your employer for your paycheck, but that was the general consensus.
Middlemas says in 5 years, she's only had 5 paychecks bounce.
I made sure they were paid on time and they were paid every 2 weeks because it was important to me, whether I took a salary or not.
Former VAC board member Chris Callahan said he taught several workshops in 2012, and he also has been reaching out to city officials. He said it took as long as 3 months for him to get paid, and it wasn't until he sent Middlemas an email that he finally was.
She could either write me a check and have it ready by a certain date, or she could, I would turn it over to my attorney and she could pay her and me both. The next day I had a check. What a miracle.
Former employees and teachers also claim water and internet bills were regularly not paid. In her letter, Bonaventura wrote, "This is not for lack of funds, but rather lack of management. Bills are simply forgotten and let go." Middlemas says she missed just one water bill.
The water went off one time because I didn't get down there. I have a lot on my shoulders.
We received a copy of the VAC's water bills from the city. The paperwork shows a pattern of bad checks and delinquent water bills. Mayor Greg Brudnicki says the city is working on its own investigation into the VAC.
We are going to go in and audit them and find out, because, you know, we owe it to the taxpayers to let people know, you know, what's going on with the funds.
Middlemas says she's looking forward to the audit.
And I was very happy when I saw it because the proof is in the pudding, and then there will be no more questions.
In your opinion, what is going on here with all these accusations from former employees and board members? Why do you think this is? Why are they doing this?
Just disgruntledness. That's a very good question. I mean, do they want to burn down the building? I'm not quite sure.
Now, Middlemas claims the IRS will reinstate their nonprofit status in the next 30 days. The city is in the process of auditing the VAC, and they say they're speeding that process up so they can have some quick answers. As far as the VAC's former employees and teachers go, they say they just want to see the Visual Arts Center live up to its full potential and regain the trust of local artists. Nisa?
All right, thanks so much, Kelly. Of course, we will continue to follow this story and bring you an update as soon as one becomes available.
A Panama City beach man is dead after a crash this morning on State Road 390 behind the Goodwill in Panama City. Florida Highway Patrol officials say just after 8 this morning, a Honda Civic driven by 20-year-old Felicia Fornes tried to pass a slower vehicle and swerved into the path of a Jeep. Officials say the driver of the Jeep swerved to miss the car, drove into some loose gravel, lost control, and hit a motorcycle driven by 57-year-old David Wooten Jr., killing Wooten. Officials say charges are pending the investigation.
Well, every year, Bay County sees between 100 and 200 motorcycle crashes, and with Thunder Beach Week kicking off in Panama City Beach, the chances of an accident go up. News Channel 7's Samantha Reed joins us live at Harley-Davidson with some information on how to stay safe on the road during the Thunder Beach Spring Rally. Samantha?
Well, Nisa, when we're younger, we're taught when you ride in a car, you wear a seatbelt. And if you're operating a bicycle, you should wear a helmet. Well, as some people get older, those bikes turn into motorcycles, and some safety habits of people tend to change. Thunder Beach's Spring Rally is known to kick off with a bang. Hundreds of bikers ride to Panama City Beach to hang out with people who love riding as much as they do. One thing they don't share in common, safety equipment.
Come in, you know, and we started seeing all these other bikers riding by no helmets on. And I'm like, whoa, dude, you ain't got to wear a helmet.
The Florida no helmet law for motorcycle operators requires riders to be over 21 and have $10,000 in medical insurance in case of an accident. Visitors of Bike Week say it is illegal to ride without helmets in their states, so despite safety issues, when they come here, they prefer to let their hair fly free.
Just feeling the wind and you know, and I always wore a helmet my whole life, but I grew up on motorcycles from little tiny kid till now.
Others continue to wear helmets despite Florida's leniency.
Yeah, I think it is more safe to wear a helmet. I mean, obviously there is a lot going on down here and accidents do happen.
The Panama City Beach Police Department says sometimes being a defensive driver isn't enough.
Several wrecks we've had throughout the past several years that I think people die because of head traumas. There's several wrecks that you think would be worse, and the helmets do actually play a big factor in that.
Local motorcycle injury attorney Bob McNally lost his best friend in 2007 to a motorcycle accident and doesn't want anyone to have to go through what he did.
He was a good guy, did everything right, took all the safety courses. It just goes to show that there are negligent drivers out there that sometimes you can't account for.
Well, Nisa, I got to spend a decent amount of time out here on such a beautiful day, and I was observing, and I would say about 50% of the motorcycle drivers were wearing helmets. Now, Panama City Beach Police want to remind you that it is your choice whether or not you want to wear a helmet, but they would strongly recommend it. Nisa?
Thank you, Samantha. The Thunder Beach Rally will continue through Sunday. You can find a list of all events and activities on our website, WJHG.com.
Coming up, people who love the salt life travel to this area for deep sea fishing in hopes of making a great catch.
One local seafood market is showing us how they're here to help clean up those freshly caught fish, one slice at a time.
A beautiful day weather-wise here across Northwest Florida, and I had a great time heading on out to Beach Elementary. That's right, I was talking to the kids out there. Lots of smiling faces. Thank you very much for having me. We spoke to a whole bunch of second graders. We'll have all the details on your forecast for the Friday and weekend ahead in just a moment.
You're watching News Channel 7 at 6 with Ron Marasco, Nisa Wilkins, Viper 7 weather with certified meteorologist Chris Smith, and sports with Scott Rossman. From the Viper 7 Weather Center, here is certified meteorologist Chris Smith.
Beautiful sunshine today across our area. I hope you've been able to get out there and enjoy it. You see that right now from our WJHG tower camera. That's sunshine and temperatures across our region currently into the middle 70s from Mariana to Panama City and over into Apalachicola. Highs today climbing up into the upper 70s, but low humidity values and again, plenty of sunshine, just a few wispy cirrus clouds right now across the Gulf of Mexico and over towards Appalachia. You can see them looking out back over across the Gulf of Mexico. Temperatures right now currently into the low to mid 70s. And again, most of our region will continue to remain fairly comfortable overnight tonight with dry air in place. A cold front located to our north will bring a reinforcing shot of some cooler air here to Northwest Florida. So do expect us to notice that cold front passing through as we move through tomorrow morning into the afternoon hours. That will kick up the winds and give us, again, that reinforcing shot of cooler air. Don't expect anything in the way of much cloud cover or any rainfall across our region. We will see temperatures tonight drop into the 50s and lower 60s. Lower 60s closer to the coastline, 50s for inland areas. And then tomorrow we're going to be back up into the 70s with sunshine. So again, another beautiful day expected on Friday across our area. By Friday night into Saturday morning, you'll see temperatures drop into the low 50s. Meanwhile, inland areas will drop down into the low 50s. Coastal areas will stay into the upper 50s. But again, so this nice weather streak that we had this morning will be out there tomorrow morning and Saturday morning as well before things gradually begin to warm up here across our area. So again, plenty of warm weather as we make our way through much of the next 7 days. As you'll see in your Viper 7-day forecast, we'll see plenty of sunshine and warm temperatures with highs right around 80. Overnight low temperatures mainly into the 50s to start and then warming into the 60s. But again, next week will be a little muggier, maybe a couple showers by next Thursday. But for the most part, a dry 7-day forecast.
I just cannot beat that forecast.
It's gonna be looking
Thanks,
good.
Chris. Well, still ahead, Autism Awareness Month is wrapping up.
That's right. We'll show you how one local school is using bubbles as a way to raise awareness.
Stay up to date with News Channel 7 on Facebook. Search for WJHG, click like, and join the conversation.
Folks come from all over to enjoy a day or two of deep sea fishing in the Gulf. They load the boats early in the morning for 5 or 10-hour trips, and in some cases 2 days out on the water. The fishers are hoping to bring in the big catch, or sometimes just looking to load the freezer. Well, many opt to have someone else do the cleaning and packaging, and one Panama City Beach seafood market is right there when the boats pull into the dock.
But we can backpack their fish, their fresh fish, and that way when they go home, all they have to do is put it in the freezer. It's, good for 6 or 8 months, maybe even a year.
And tonight's Faces and Places of the Panhandle will go behind the scenes of a local seafood market and find out how workers cut and package the fish.
I can't wait. Well, for the 5th year in a row, students and teachers and parents wrapped up Autism Awareness Month in a big way. The Cedar Grove Elementary School community gathered outside this afternoon to blow bubbles at the same time. The event symbolizes unity within the school. It's an activity all types of learners can enjoy. Tonight on News Channel 7 at 10, hear from the teacher of an autistic classroom about the toughest and most rewarding parts of the job.
I love to blow bubbles.
Me
it's
too.
fun. Well, next in sports, we're live out at Frank Field as Mosley prepares for a home playoff game.
And Scott tells us about at least 1 and possibly 2 head coaching vacancies.
News Channel 7 Sports.
Now, News Channel 7 Sports with Scott Rossman.
And we start with high school baseball, a big night indeed for 5 area teams as the state playoffs begin. Mosley among those hosting their region quarterfinals. Greg's standing by live at Frank Field to preview that one. Greg?
Scott, this Dolphins team has a resume that makes them one of the favorites here in 5A. They enter the tourney with an incredible 24-3 record and as the District 1 champs. That means Frank Field is hosting playoff baseball for the first time since 2012 as 16-8 Wakulla comes to Lynn Haven. Coach Harless, he knows after a season full of tough tests on a loaded schedule, his guys are more than ready for a run, and the War Eagles better be ready for a battle.
Wakulla's going to have to beat us. I mean, we're not going to give it to them. There's no way. Our guys are prepared. They're mentally tough enough. They've been through a lot of great pitching, a lot of great teams, a lot of great defenses. Our guys have seen pretty much everything this year. So, Wakulla's going to have to come over here and beat us on our home field. And, and we've only lost 3 times on our home field in the last 8 years. I mean, it's tough to beat us there.
That's because of the program, the winning tradition that coach has been able to build up in his time with the Finns. That era, it could possibly be ending soon. Bay County School Board Chairman Steve Moss has confirmed to us Superintendent Bill Husfeldt will recommend Harless as the next principal at C.C. Washington Middle School. That recommendation is set to be given at the next school board meeting May 14th and is very well likely to be approved by the board. Coach Harless has asked that he be allowed to take that job and then remain as the head coach at Mosley as well. The decision on that matter will be made by Mr. Husfeldt himself. But first, the Dolphins will work their way towards a run at the championship. We understand that coach has told his players of this notification, but they have a big run to make now too. And we have the highlights of their first game here at state coming up tonight at 10. Scott.
All right, Greg, excellent job. There are 4 other area playoff games tonight. Bay at Sewanee just underway. Crestview at Childs, a 7 o'clock game. In 3A, 2 afternoon games. The Bucks fall in 5 innings at North Florida Christian 10-0, and Rocky Bayou losing at home to McClay by a final of 3-1. To more coaching news, in another head basketball slot now vacant. Mariana head coach Travis Blanton resigning that post today. He is taking an assistant principal's job within Jackson County. In 15 seasons, Blanton led the Bulldogs to 11 state playoff appearances, including trips to the 3A state semis in 08 and 09. Coach Blanton telling me today he feels extremely blessed to have been a part of such a great program, adding it was great before he got there. He says he's thankful to the many players and for the support he received from the school, boosters, and the community. He says he'll miss the relationships with the players most. He says they are so important to him. He expects to have some input in choosing his successor. Hey, Matt Anderson cut loose by Graceville this week, telling me this morning he is definitely interested in that Mariana job. To track and field, several area athletes heading east to Jacksonville to compete in the state meet at the University of North Florida the next 2 days. That includes Arnold Jr. distance runner Michaela Ashley, who's making her 3rd trip to state.
I'm proud to say that I've been able to make it this far, this many times, and I'm just thankful for having the group behind me to be able to help me to be able to make it this far and push me in my training.
She's just a very driven athlete. She works really hard. When she's not running, she's working in the pool, swimming, and her work ethic is second to none. Just a really driven athlete. And she just has an internal drive to want to be the best she can be.
And Michaela joined in the trip to state by another Arnold runner, senior Jordan Lance on the right there, and sophomore shot putter Ben Hamilton. All the area athletes, you can see them in the story. There's a link to the state meet in this story on our website. Fishing game forecast brought to us by Half Hitch Tackle shows us 5 hits into the good range, peaks around 12:40 in the morning and 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And just in case you haven't heard by now, Florida head coach Billy Donovan, no longer Florida head coach. He is taking the job in the NBA with the Oklahoma City Thunder. So he inherits a couple of good ball players in Durant and Westbrook, and a team that probably would have been a top 4 seed in the West had they not had some injuries.
And I think me and you kind of thought he might be going. I mean, he's done everything he can do
19
at Florida.
seasons at the University of Florida, a couple of national championships, 4 Final Fours. Yeah, he's taken to that program. Now it's on the AD Jeremy Foley to find the appropriate replacement. That probably won't be easy.
You and me probably remember Donovan as a player back at Providence.
Way back when, yes. And
I think he
playing
played for Rick Pitino.
There, I was just going to ask you, who did he play for? There you go. Good call.
Scott, thank you. Chris has another look at the forecast when we come back. Stay with us.
Download the free News Channel 7 app today.
Well, for most folks, there's just absolutely nothing to complain about with this forecast. Just gorgeous.
Maybe ducks are complaining. That's about it. But other than that, yeah, we are talking about some great weather. Live look currently over toward the Gulf of Mexico and Lake Town Warfront Beach Road, looking all very, very nice. Just a few wispy cirrus clouds, but all that rainfall has moved out of northwest Florida. And hour by hour tonight, we'll drop into the 60s. A nice cool start tomorrow morning. Maybe crack those windows tonight. A refreshing start. Highs tomorrow climbing up close to 80 degrees. And great weather on through the rest of Thunder Beach.
Oh, can't wait. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you right back here at 10.
You can find more details on our stories at WJHG.com. Have a good night, everyone.